Yes, this is Kilo 4, Bravo Tango Alpha. Name here is Lewis in Marietta, Georgia. How copy?
Roger. Come back phonetically again with a call sign, please.
Yes, sir. It's Kilo 4, Bravo Tango Alpha.
Roger. And the name?
Say again, sir?
And your name?
Yeah, name here is Lewis. Lima, Uniform, India, Sierra.
Roger, Lewis. Let me hear you. What kind of radio are you running?
Yes, my radio's ICOM 7300 with running an inverted V at 50 feet at the apex, running a QRO amplifier running right about 1200 with 10 watts input out of my 7300.
All right. Check your. Do you know where your ALC is?
Yes, sir, I do.
Check your ALC to see if you're running mid-scale. On your next transmission back, get your mic volume control ready and check your ALC. You want to be mid-scale ALC to towards the right of mid-scale. Roger. Yeah.
Apparently I wasn't running enough because microphone here. Let me see if I can find the ALC here. How is that?
Well, your ALC will know for sure. If you're mid-scale ALC to two-thirds ALC, that would be where you want to be.
Okay, let me check. Okay, I'm about mid. Let me turn it up some more. Turn it up, turning up. I'm about mid-scale there. How's that? Is that any better?
Oh yeah, much fatter. You're running now about 3 dB, 2.5, 3 dB dynamic range, and you know what happens is as you get a fatter signal, your dynamic range is reduced. So you initially were like almost 10 dB dynamic range, and now you're running about 3 dB. So your signal, you went from probably about 30% average peak modulation to about 65%, somewhere in there, Roger.
QSL, sir, roger that. I'll give you your report. You're about 30 over S9 here in Marietta, Georgia, loud and clear. My ALC now is right on the middle of my bar, so it should be with just a tad of compression there, Roger.
Roger. Now, what I'm hearing is a little distortion. And how much power are you running?
I'm running right about 1200.
Okay, it sounds like you might be getting a little RF in your AF. It sounds like you might be getting a little RF getting back into your audio. If you could move the, just as a test, move your mic furthest from the power amplifier that you can, and give me some words in that location, Roger.
Okay, I moved it away now. Probably moved it away about 2 or 3 feet, and hopefully that should have took care of it. And I put the power down to about 1,000 watts.
Roger. It's still got a little bit in there, but what I would suggest, what kind of ground system are you running?
I've got 2 8-foot rods and outside of my garage running into the house.
All right. What I would do, and then they go to one spider system?
Yes, sir, that's correct. It goes across a bar, and it's to every piece of equipment I have in the radio system.
Roger. That's a copper pipe down the back of the table?
That is correct, sir.
Roger. The problem with that is that it becomes a portion of a wavelength. What I prefer is a true spider system where everything comes together in one location. I use a large split bolt, and I take my ground lead and all the other leads and put them together absolutely in one place with a large split bolt and tighten them down, and so you don't have any wavelength difference between one ground and the other, Roger.
QSL, roger that. Okay, well, I just want to hear myself, and I'll work on it this afternoon since it's raining here in Georgia. And thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day, and thank you for picking me up, and I will check the internet and see how this sounds and make my corrections. This is K4BTA. Pleasure talking to you, sir.
Roger, Lewis. And another thing to try is, since you do have 2 grounds, so I have 3 grounds, and I have 1 ground just for the power amp it didn't make much sense to me to have one ground where I have my audio preamp ground and my power amp ground going to the same place. Did not make a lot of sense at all. So I've got one ground that's just for the power amp and the antenna tuner and the antenna switch, rotary switch stuff where I select all my other antennas. And that's on one ground, and then I have two other grounds that I have coming to a separate spider for the rest of the equipment. So you might think about, since you have two grounds, maybe busting that up and putting your power amp ground and stuff, high power stuff on the separate ground, and then another spider for the rest of your stuff. Just an idea, It's all by hook or crook or hocus pocus, whatever works, and then you have the lovely opportunity of doing it for other bands. Just because you solve the problem on one band doesn't mean the whole war is over, because as you go to other bands, other things happen. So it is, you will play a catch-up there for a little while, Roger.
QSL, Roger that, and I will do that. It's very simple on my part. Just pull the desk back and separate the radios from the amplifiers and tuners, so it wouldn't be much of a trouble on this end. Well, like I said, thank you very much. 73s to you, and pleasure talking to you again. And I'll be waiting on the recording on the YouTube area. Take care. 73 K4BTA.
Roger Lewis. Yeah, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that'll take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and on that page, obviously, there will be a session called My Group Air Check, dated 11/2/18. So we'll say 3s for now, and we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV Qso-Vlog.